Hi, welcome to Bar Cart Bookshelf, a video series about books and the drinks they inspire. My name is Elias, and today we're talking about A Power Unbound by Freya Marske. This is an episode that is long anticipated. This is an episode that has been on our calendar for 2 years now, since we talked about the first book in the last binding trilogy, A Marvelous Light, back in 2021. And oh, what a delight. This is the final book in the last binding trilogy. These wonderful turn-of-the-century fantasy romances from Freya Marske. They're just absolutely the perfect blend of a fantasy novel and a romance novel. Like exactly what I want a fantasy romance to be. I love them to pieces. I read this book. I flew through it. I'd been saving it from when it came out in November until just this past week so that I could really have it fresh. And what a delight it was. Like the previous books in the trilogy, A Marvelous Light and A Restless Truth, it is a romance novel that follows a specific couple, Alan Ross and Lord Hawthorne, people who we've seen previously in the earlier books, while having the challenge of addressing the overall plot of the trilogy. A really tricky balance, and one that I thought worked really well. And the ways in which the romance arc underlined the thoughts that the series has about magic, about the nature of power, about the obligation of the powerful to the community, and the wages of power, was just very, very well done. And it's also like deliciously romantic and sexy, and a nice high heat, definitely the highest heat of the 3 books in the series. And so, of course, we had to have a drink inspired by A Power Unbound. And this is the final addition to our last binding menu. Each book in the series has inspired a gin cocktail and a riff on a classic gin cocktail. A Marvelous Light, the Penhallock House, is a riff on the classic gin highball of Tom Collins. The drink for A Restless Truth, book 2 in the series, is the HMS Lyric, inspired by the Gimlet, and we'll have both of those linked both in the description below and here in our lovely little YouTube tags. And our drink for book 3, A Power Unbound, is inspired by the classic sparkling wine highball, the French 75. This is the Cheetham Hall. It takes its name from the ancestral manse of Lord Hawthorne and the site of both the events that kick off really the entire trilogy and that bring about the grand climax and finale. This marvelous magical house that loves you and that has a relationship with the stewards of the land while being like this grandiose palatial estate. Just really delicious vibes and thoughtful just themes about stewardship and land. Oh, it's truly delicious. And so we have our Cheetham Hall, which we will get started making now. I'm going to start with a few sprigs of mint, and what we're going to do is spank the mint. So you're going to take it and just give it a wipe in your hands like this. Wipe in your tin. You don't want to muddle it because the rosemary is just so aggressive. If you muddle it, you can release a lot of really potent flavors, and it can overwhelm the rest of our cocktail. So we're going to spank it, very appropriate for the book, and just get the light version of that flavor where those rosemary oils come through, but they don't overpower the rest of our ingredients. And then we're going to swathe the inside of our glass as well, just to get that bit of rosemary in there. Then we can set that aside for now. Now we'll get the remainder of our ingredients. Oh, it smells so lovely in rosemary here. We're going to get 1.5 ounces of Navy Strength gin, and this is that overproof, higher alcohol by volume gin from Hayman's. It's an English gin company, gin distiller, and that's really going to bring that punch, that intensity, that heat. We're going to get 1.5 ounces of that in there. And we will get 3/4 ounce of red wine syrup. This is made with equal parts red wine and sugar. I recommend an Italian red, like a Barolo, really appropriate to Alan Ross, one of our main characters, one of our love interest protagonists in the novel. We're going to get 3/4 ounce of that red wine syrup. Going to add that like bloody, rich darkness. We see this relationship between blood and the land and the offerings that we make to the land, and some lovely red wine in the book as well. Then we're going to get 3/4 ounce of fresh lemon juice to really brighten it up, bring that zing, bring that freshness to our Cheetham Hole. Get our ice into our tin. Lovely. One more. And shake it up, wake it up. Lovely. As you can see, our tin gets nice, frosty, and frothy. We'll give that a stout tap to unseal it. Let our liquid drop down and strain into that large coupe that we prepared. Oh, it smells so fresh. Lovely, lovely. But of course, it isn't a French 75 or a sparkling wine cocktail without some sparkling wine. So to finish off our Cheetham Hall, we are going to take a bottle of Prosecco or Champagne, any sparkling wine you like. I like the Prosecco. It's really bright and fresh, and it's an Italian sparkling wine. Again, very appropriate to our Italian love interest protagonist, Alan Ross. And we're going to uncork that. Lovely pop. Just a quick quarter turn to get that open. It doesn't need to fly out. It doesn't need to foam up. It can just be very easy, fresh, and lovely. And we'll top our Cheetham Hole with that and garnish with a sprig of rosemary. And there you have it. This is the Cheetham Hall, inspired by A Power Unbound by Freya Marske. A Power Unbound is available now. It's the final book in the Last Binding trilogy. The whole series is just absolutely delightful. It is smart. It is hot and sexy. It is fun and beautiful and just an absolute favorite of mine over these past few years. A series that I am both delighted to see the conclusion of and sad to see the end of. I really look forward to what Marske has coming up next, and to revisiting the world of The Last Binding whenever I can in rereads. So, we've got links to snag the book in the description below, to various forms of social media, including Twitter and Instagram, where there's always a written version of today's recipe. Try the drink, let me know what you think in the comments down below, and until next time, cheers.